It was supposed to be a routine public address. Thousands had gathered to hear the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, speak at a cultural unity event in the capital. The atmosphere was electric, flags waving, chants rising, and pride on every face. But just minutes before he was due to take the stage, a scene unfolded at the side entrance that no one saw coming. Dressed simply, with no formal entourage, Traoré approached the back gate quietly. He nodded at the security guard, stationed there. But instead of letting him pass, the guard stepped forward, hand outstretched. "Identification, please," he said firmly. Traoré paused, smiled, and complied. What followed was a moment of absolute disbelief. The guard, unfamiliar with the president's appearance in casual clothing, scrutinized the ID with suspicion. "This says you're Ibrahim Traoré," he said slowly, "but I need confirmation. Orders are tight today." Traoré nodded, not insulted, not irritated, just calm. "You're doing your job," he replied. For a few tense seconds, the two men stood face to face. The crowd inside had no idea their leader was standing outside, held up by his own security protocol. No cameras, no press, just a man and his duty-bound guard. Instead of using his rank to push through, Traoré pulled out his phone and made a call. Moments later, one of his aides sprinted to the gate, wide-eyed and apologetic. "Let him through, that's the president," he gasped. The guard stood frozen for a second before realization hit him. His eyes widened as he looked back at Traoré. "Sir, I'm so sorry, I didn't recognize..." But Traoré raised a hand, stopping the apology. "You didn't do anything wrong," he said. "You did exactly what we need more of, accountability and vigilance." The incident could have ended there, but what Traoré did next turned the simple mix-up into a legendary leadership moment. He invited the guard inside, not just to watch the event, but to join him on stage. "Let the people see the kind of men we need protecting our democracy," he said. The crowd erupted in applause as the young officer stood beside the president, visibly overwhelmed. "This man reminded me today that no title makes us exempt from the rules," Traoré told the audience, "and that is the kind of integrity I stand for." As the event continued, people were glued not only to Traoré's speech, but to the story behind the man beside him. Photos of the security guard went viral almost instantly. Social media was ablaze with praise, calling him Burkina Faso's most honest man and the gatekeeper who stood his ground. But what captured hearts the most wasn't just his firmness, it was Traoré's reaction. The humility to accept the delay, the grace to reward diligence, and the wisdom to turn it into a teaching moment. This was leadership, unfiltered and raw. Journalists began calling it the gate moment. Political commentators in Africa and abroad pointed out the symbolism. Most leaders would have been insulted, one analyst said, but Traoré showed that power doesn't have to roar. It can also nod, wait, and understand. The security guard, whose name was revealed as Isaka Zongo, became an overnight sensation. He later told a local news outlet, "I was just following instructions. I didn't know I'd be standing next to the president by the end of my shift." Later that week, Traoré honored Zongo in a private ceremony, presenting him with a National Service Medal. "You reminded us what honor looks like in uniform," he said. "When history looks back at this day, it won't talk about a speech. It will talk about a man who stood firm for the rules, even when power knocked." The video of the ceremony garnered millions of views, and comments poured in praising both men. One viewer wrote, "It's rare to see a leader who doesn't demand respect, but earns it instead." Traoré's actions sent a clear message to every corner of the country. No one is above the law, not even the highest office. It was a powerful counter to the arrogance and entitlement often associated with political elites. For young Burkinabe watching at home, the story lit a spark. It became a viral lesson in humility, integrity, and courage. Schools even began discussing it in civic classes, and radio hosts called it the story that made us all stand taller. It wasn't just a news moment, it became part of the national consciousness. International leaders took note too. Several African presidents issued statements praising Traoré's conduct, while some Western media called it a refreshing contrast to the global norm. Meanwhile, Zongo stayed grounded, returning to duty the next day. "I'm proud," he said in a rare interview, "but nothing's changed. I'm still here to protect." His humility mirrored that of the man he stopped, two different worlds meeting at a single gate, proving that greatness doesn't need a spotlight to shine. In the end, what could have been an awkward delay turned into one of the most iconic leadership moments in recent history. Ibrahim Traoré didn't demand to be recognized. He allowed the moment to reveal who he truly was, and in doing so, he reminded his people that real strength is not in privilege, but in principle. The event may have been about national pride and unity, but the lesson came from a gate, a pause, and a quiet decision to do the right thing. And that, more than any speech, was what made history.